March 632 BC. Priests gather to plot a murder. For decades, they've been under the thumb of a wealthy family, backed by the power of Egypt's pharaoh. Now the time is ripe for revenge. This is a true story, written down on a piece of papyrus that has survived for 2,500 years. It's the story of a murder, the final act of a 30-year feud that tears apart a city and brings down a dynasty. For 400 years, Egypt has been ravaged by civil war and foreign invasion. Libyan invaders have swept in from the north. Nubian armies have conquered the south. With the kingdom in chaos, a wealthy priesthood turns itself into an independent political force. The priests of the god Amun become power brokers between rival warlords. For 450 years, they are answerable to no one. But in the 7th century BC, Psamtik, a ruthless warrior, storms to power and reunites the kingdom. Egypt has a new pharaoh. No part of the country will be left untouched by the new regime.
يجب أن تكون التعليمات كما أمر، كل في مكان.
In 660 BC, a stranger arrives in Tujoy. Petiesse is the pharaoh's cousin. He's been dispatched to take control of the town. Tujoy is home to one of the great temples of Amun, and its priests have to be brought to heel. Petiesse orders his men to search the temple. This is more than a place of worship. Temples own most of the land in Egypt and control most of its wealth. Petiesse knows from its accounts just how rich this temple is. He is under orders to redirect its wealth to the pharaoh. If he delivers, he will also make his own fortune. Petiesse has 2 priests beaten. It's a brutal demonstration of the pharaoh's power.
لا سيدي لمست ولو.
تحت ما يخرج من هنا حتى يعترفوا ورجع الزرع كله اللي كان يرجع.
نعم سيدي.
كل شيء يرجع.
نعم.
The message is clear. After 4 centuries of independence, the power of the priesthood of Amun is at an end.
أعطوا الماء.
In Tujoy, the priests will now take their orders from Petiesse. Two and a half thousand years ago, Petiesse's great-great-grandson wrote down his family's history. It unfolds in a papyrus 14 feet long that was discovered in the late 19th century.
Mateo Ushao Jeme, Suhainak Muntnam, Ushobi Hantio Joy.
The story he tells is a tragic saga of political and personal revenge, the seeds of which were sown when Petiesse first took control of the temple. It's 11 years since Petiesse arrived in Tujoy, and the temple is flourishing. The wealth of the whole region flows in from the temple's vast estates in the form of grain. Petiesse is now the self-styled prophet of Amun, the highest-ranking priest in the temple of Tujoy.
ثمت.
Amun is Egypt's state god. Every morning, Petiesse ritually awakens his effigy. He is attended by his junior priests, including the young boy he'd had savagely beaten a decade ago.
I don't love. Awamsu shirish iri ukiti. Azjatsu unkahau untibishu barsin. Azjatsu unkha rashkei. I don't love.
Just in case the priests should forget where the power really lies, Petiesse has installed a statue of himself right next to the shrine of the god Amun. An inscription lists the titles he has granted himself.
Petiesse su unyataru, mautif tutuphonit, Shabs unnipen, hamnit, hamnuti Amun, وحمحامي نبتي هامي ويري
At the temple's expense, he has also granted himself a fifth of the temple's vast income, making him one of the richest men in Egypt. Petiesse is now the father of 3 sons and a daughter, Nitemhe. Nitemhe is now old enough to marry. For Petiesse, her coming of age is a chance to lay the foundations of his dynasty in Tujoy. In his account, his great-great-grandson describes the day in 649 BC when Petiesse brings an outsider to the family home in Tujoy.
Harouj, Sibifteo Abasti, Ranif, Ilubi Hatbi.
Harouj is a minor official from a nearby town. Petiesse first met him a year ago when he began looking for a husband for his daughter. Harouj has no money. In fact, he has debts which Petiesse agrees to pay off. But his family were once priests here. He has the ideal pedigree to be Petiesse's deputy in Tujoy. This isn't about love. It's about politics. The papyrus records the actual words of the deal.
Hari wahab on amon rai sultai. Hai dasnak.
Under the terms of the marriage, Petiesse will pass on all his titles and his wealth from the temple to Nitemhe and Harouj. The dynasty is secure.
إذا كان غداك الصاموت أنا كنعرف كيفاش عامل دائما هو مبرزيت دائما كيدير الفضة كبيرة. أشياء كلهم.
Petiesse's thoughts now turn to his own future. He's been in the provinces for 11 years. It's been long enough. Petiesse plans to move to Thebes, closer to the center of political power. He'll leave his son-in-law in charge of the temple. Harouj is anxious. Petiesse reassures him that he'll always be protected by the pharaoh.
شدروا إلى السير. نعم. هادشي كله سجلتيه؟ كلشي مسجل. ما خاص حتى شي حاجة تزبدها. كلشي لا انت عم تسجل كلشي لا يمكن تسجل.
A year ago, Horridge was a minor public official. Now he finds himself in sole control of one of the great institutions of Egypt. He's inherited Petiesse's power and the riches of his lifestyle, but with them, a legacy of simmering resentment. For 17 years, under the pharaoh's protection, Horridge has enjoyed the fruits of the power he has gained from his marriage. But the passage of time has done nothing to temper the bitter memories of Petiesse's brutal regime. His daughter, Nitemhe, is now the mistress of the largest household in Tujoy. Over the years, she has become a shrewd businesswoman. Through her agents, she trades food and textiles up and down the Nile, produce of the family estate, adding further to the dynasty's considerable fortune. For the other priest families, life is much harder. To top up their meager salaries, they have to work their own small plots of land outside the town. Nitemhe now has a family of her own. 2 sons who one day will inherit their grandfather's fortune and his power over the priesthood.
شد انت خبزك قريت هذاك الرجل ديال الجيش وإلا قعدتي تا كلها بشويه تمام عرضك بالحقوق.
As Petiesse's grandsons, these boys have known nothing but a life of luxury. While the rest of the country makes do with bread and beer, they, like other aristocratic children, feast on rare delicacies like hyena and Nile turtle.
تفرع لي مع راسك. الله يرزقنا نعمة.
As long as they enjoy the protection of the pharaoh, Petiesse's dynasty will continue to flourish. Miles south of Tujoy, in the temple of Karnak, a new deal has been struck. After a standoff that has lasted for 3 decades, the priests of Amun and the pharaoh have made peace. Petiesse has been a leading figure in brokering a new settlement between church and state. As a symbol, the pharaoh's virgin daughter, Nitocris, has been installed in the temple as the wife of the god Amun. The priests of Amun are now the pharaoh's allies.
في غاية الفرح بأن أستقبلك في هذا الحفل الكريم.
وجودك في هذا المكان أضفى عليه البهاء والجمال زينب.
رحمتك الآية.
Petiesse has helped to forge a new political order, but he has not considered its impact on his family back in Tujoy.
كجواتني لما غادي نقطع لك شعرك؟
كنعرف ماما
راك وليتي راجل
أكيد شوية عليك
ما تخافش.
Nitemhe's sons have reached a turning point in their lives.
كيما غادي يعجبو الحال
ان شاء الله.
The end of childhood, marked by cutting off a boy's sidelock. The papyrus records this significant moment.
Ishopi ishop. Ihal snawu un harwaj si bafteyo abasti. Interu.
Now that he has reached puberty, Horridge's older son is to be circumcised. As the son of a priest, the ritual is essential to make him pure enough to serve the gods.
شوف وليدي غتصبر لكل ما غادي يوقع لك.
A third generation of Petiesse's dynasty has come of age. For the priests, this is a living reminder of their subjugation. News of the political settlement in Thebes reaches the temple in Tujoy.
إذا خصنا نعملوا شي حاجة وكلكم خصكم تكونوا في صف واحد باش ما يبقاوش ديما هكا حاكريننا فين ما كانوا قتلونا فين ما كانوا كيضطهدونا خصنا نكونوا وقفة رجل واحد ونعملوا يد في يد.
The priests meet in secret.
ولهذا إذا دابا كلشي حضر.
For the first time since the pharaoh Samtek seized the throne 30 years ago, the balance of power has swung back in their favor. With the new deal struck in Thebes, they believe the pharaoh will no longer touch them.
اللي كان الاخوان هو ان هاد الناس هادو تكرسوا علينا بزاف تياخذوا لنا ماكلتنا.
They devise a plot to overthrow Petiesse's family. The papyrus preserves their actual words.
Ijudis mi'una barrei. If iji baruftui nabahu tibnoiti im by humble. By humble. Onrumi ikhran. Onrumi ikhran. واش متفقين معايا؟ متفقين غادي نقتلوهم غادي نسفكوهم. انت متفق معايا؟ متفق. انت متفق معاك. انت غادي تقتل معايا؟ متفق.
At last, the time has come for revenge.
انت غتمضي الماس؟ متفق معاك. انت شوف فيا مزيان وهز راسك. هي ولا لا؟ متفق معاك. انت متفق؟ متفق معاك. وانت متفق؟ متفق معاك. وانت؟
أنا معاك.
It's harvest time, when every family celebrates the festival of the goddess Renenutet. She's the lady of the fertile fields, the goddess of plenty, who is supposed to bring prosperity and good luck for the year ahead. The corn mummy that hangs over the grain store is meant to protect the harvest and the family's children from harm. At this time of year, the old corn mummy is burnt to rid the world of evil. But elsewhere in Tujoy, the priests are finalizing their plan to overthrow the family.
أنا واحد الخطة دراري. الخطة ديال القتيلة وديال الذبيحة. اليوم غادي نجمعوا اليوم نهزوا الباطونات ونمشيو عندهم. واخا؟ من منتين هو أو الرويه. ستيرناتين هو النابوتي. تم سونيتين هو أو هنوي شتوى.
دراري يكون على خير.
Now that they have come of age, Horridge decides that his sons are old enough to collect the family's share of the harvest by themselves. He leaves Tujoy to look after business on the far side of the river. With the servant in tow, the young boys set off for the temple. The events that follow are recorded in detail in the family history written by Petiese's great-great-grandson.
Shupidwa, ni waibu e hanuti, ibush unbuti inisu, ihalsnau unhorwuj e hanuti.
اهلا سعود دودج مرحبا بك بارك الله فيك وغادي نرحبوا بك وغتجي عندنا غنوليو كل خطره فين ما بغيتي شي حاجه جي مرحبا بك
صافي شكرا.
لانك دابا عزيز علينا كي داير واحد باباك
كلشي لاباس الحمد لله.
اييه اش بغيتو احتاجتو شي حاجه
اما يا خاوي وبيرا فطوي.
كنعطيو شي حاجه اخرى
علاش فين حقنا نزرع؟
ما غاديش نعطيكم الزرع غنعطيكم شي حاجه احسن من الزرع غادي نعطيكم العصا
علاش شنو درنا حنا؟
شتو العصا
إني حلو وعبوني يحيو يبو الحن نبوته وتو إنبي حلسناو ونحورج. أتو أحراي إبيت وعب عوبتو إحراي ونسو. ليوبهو أنرو أنتقح ونمون. حتبوسي ونسخي.
باغي ديما تهشك قول العصا هيدا العصا اللي داير راسها شكون ديك سمعت كريم ويبي تاكلوا العصا كريم يلاه الرهبان تضربوه
شنو
كريم ويبي
مالهم
يضربوهم
هدار شكون اللي كيضربهم شكون
Terrified that the priests will attack the house, the family's servants barricade themselves in.
كاينة الحي أبتيتي تمع أو ونبحال سنو جار بالسيء أحرس. نمون حرج أنتيو جايان نفحي بي إمونت. سالم سيجي حدبو بفشري سنو شاعف بحري والجوي.
بخير توني
رايم وجوي نيو يتشو جوي إنف معوشي لبش ونيو كراو نيو هوني طايف راسي ونكوتي ونبيه ونتنحي.
Instead of going home to Tujoy, the records tell us that Horuj sets out immediately for Thebes. He believes that only Petiese has the power to restore order in Tujoy. It will be at least 6 days before Horuj returns. Almost a week since his grandson's murder and 28 years after he first arrived in the town, Petiese returns to Tujoy. Terrified of the rebel priests, no one has dared enter the temple to bring out the bodies of the boys. Unless they receive a proper burial, Nitemhe's sons will have no chance of an afterlife. Their battered bodies are discovered in a storeroom below the temple. Their killers must be found. A manhunt is underway. Having found the dead boys, the police arrest their killers.
Taif unse ihrai, taudni umonich, shabi unuchi'o impitimi. What kind of punishment will Petiese mete out to the men who have murdered his grandsons? The papyrus tells us, Sakuni waibu untiu joy, nimnius haime, niu kratu e hanuti, te Petiese.
"3 decades after he brutally took control of the temple, Petiese returns to the scene to confront the priests who have taken revenge against his family.
الكل يعلم لماذا نحن هنا مجتمعون. نحن مجتمعون من أجل الوطن.
إمشان بيف خياري يا أرتي أني هن بيف خيارتي كريك بهن تيمي إكي تعرف شنمي أني ني إكيمي نيمت نوفا بيف خياري نا أمون سيموني أون تشاتشي
نيمات نوفا إيري أم بح أمون ني إيري نو تاي نو تو إيراي أم بح أمون ناي وبابو إهراي نخلايور ني أي ريش إتيانوسي إسبو إتهابوت أمون ناي نوتاي ناي تيارونا تنميت التويمين تتشاس
Petiese is trapped. He can't be seen to undermine the alliance he brokered between his cousin the pharaoh and the priesthood of Amun.
إسبو إتهابوت أنامون نايوامون إتشاي بأيتيمي
He can't protect his family, and he can't avenge his grandson's murder. Petiese's reign is over.
أنت تعلم يا تمثالي العزيز أننا كرسنا حياتنا كلها لآمون.
Before he leaves Tujoy, Petiese commissions a second inscription on his statue in the temple of Amun. This time, it carries a warning.
إدين سنسياي بن أون إبف أون إدت ناتين هرمواف سمن أهابن إنتاف نبت إسرافن هنا سخوف إها تشتشفي سينو ناف سويف هاف إمخرناف إسيتين إرنهاي
There was a time when Petty Essay's words carried real power. In the new political era, the inscription is no more than a futile gesture.
المهم أن تكون رجلا وتتبع الخطوات التي وصفتها لك وما يكون إلا خير.
اطمئن اطمئن.
سير. قف.
J'ai tué une de bac. Une et toi, vous êtes très bébé.
نأي أراش. ونعمون. وكيولات ليوي. يتشاي ناتن. اطمئني يا ابنتي. سير.
Once one of the most powerful figures in Egypt, Petty Essay is now a broken man. He can't even offer his own daughter the protection she desperately needs. He leaves Nitemhe and her husband grieving for their murdered sons. Petty Essay never returned to Tujoy. And we know from his great-great-grandson's account that the priests of Tujoy did their best to destroy his legacy. Over the next century and a half, his family fought a losing battle to keep control of the temple. His eldest son followed him as prophet of Amun, but within a generation, the priests had evicted him and taken back all the family's wealth. By the time his great-great-grandson told this story, the royal dynasty of Petty Essay's cousin, the pharaoh Samtek, had been overthrown. But the priesthood of Amun kept its power. And defying the curse that Petty Essay had put on it, the priests in Tujoy destroyed his statue and wiped out all traces of his family.